Good afternoon, good morning, or depending on whatever time zone you're in. LabCoatAgents, Brian Curtis here. I'm going to talk today with Jenifer Salter, Troy Mack, and Ira McNamara about some StreetText stuff. So great product, and I know that I use it. Obviously, Jenifer uses it, and we're excited to hear today about what we're going to do. So Jenifer, if you don't mind, I'm just going to pass over to you initially and just tell us a little bit about yourself and your real estate program and what you got going on. So.
Sure, absolutely. So first, I think it's important just to say that I've been in real estate a little over 3 years. I came from a teaching career of 12 years, teaching third grade, and I jumped into real estate full time with no reserves because that just sounded fantastic. And I've been with StreetText now a little over 2 years and have been very successful with their program. I love them so much and actually just released a Conversion Academy course with them. And so I'm here just to talk about my follow-up strategies, what I do to kind of enhance their already awesome program.
Awesome. Absolutely. Troy, Ira, tell us a little bit about yourself so people know who you are and what you do.
I mean, we're stoked that Jenifer's here to join us. She's part of what makes us really successful is the fact that we just don't want to provide a tool for people to be able to run fantastic Facebook ads and get good leads, but we want to teach people how to transform their business. And I mean, Jenifer has shared so many times about how she had a goal to be a listing agent and how StreetText helped her get there, but it's really on her back, on her work. Like she has come to all of our resources and she's taken the little pieces and put it together in a teaching background and is now teaching other people. And I'm just excited to see what comes out of what she's done for other agents because she's very abundant in the way she shares how she's done that. And I know already some people are like over the moon excited to have a process to follow to get where she's gone. You know, success leaves clues. And Jenifer shares a lot of her clues, which is awesome.
It is awesome. How about yourself, Troy? Thoughts?
Oh, that's all, man. I have so many, but you know, yeah, Jen is a rock star. I come from the customer success side of stuff with StreetText, and so I get to dig into those that are having success with StreetText. And as Ira kind of said, it really is a tool, and for those of you who don't really know exactly what StreetText is, we'll walk through it a little bit. But basically, we help people to generate leads on Facebook with a few clicks of the button. Right, without going to the ad manager, which Ira always calls the labyrinth of frustration and confusion for those who have been there, and start to generate those leads. But what's more important is it's actually fairly easy to generate those leads, and StreetText is a tool to do that. It's converting those leads and doing that follow-up, which can sometimes be that difficult side of things. If you don't have a system in place, it's going to be very difficult to actually see success with that. And so what Jen has done is she's really used the tool and has finessed it and put her personality in there, and it has got a nice little system that she follows and she's consistent with, that she's seeing those results with the system.
And that's absolutely amazing. So, you know what, even if you didn't learn anything about StreetText today, if you didn't learn anything about Jenifer's follow-up system, what Troy just said is Jenifer created a system, and she's going to share that with us today. I'm excited about that. But more importantly than creating a system, because there's a million different systems out there. Obviously, Jenifer's works very well, so I'm not trying to discount it at all. But the number one thing that she did, she followed her system. And I've only known her now for a few minutes, but just by the numbers, she told me what she's done, and she'll share some of that as we go through this. It's about doing something consistently over time, over it all. And one of my favorite sayings is the fortune's in the follow-up. So, Facebook leads are great, and we can generate hundreds and maybe even thousands a month if you wanted to, but generating the leads is only step one, and that's not where the money's at. And so, Jenifer, if you don't mind, just tell us a little bit about let's just kind of get into this. What are the things that you're doing and that you've learned to do? Because you've been with StreetText 19 months is what you said, correct? Mm-hmm. And, what are some of those things that you're doing? What are the things that you've learned, and how have you implemented some of those things in your business?
If you don't mind me going back, I just want to say one thing, because this was my big revelation into real estate. So for me, I really connect. I'm a single agent, right? I'm right there at that cusp where now I have to make decisions about, am I going to create a team? Am I hiring an ISA? So I've gotten there in my business, but what I have found is this. I had a fantastic mentor when I came into the business, thank goodness. But his personality, his style was so different than me. He was a suit and tie kind of guy, right? Engineer, previous background. He wanted the full scale listing presentations, and it really overwhelmed me. Like, I'm the let's take the shoes off, have a cup of coffee, have a conversation, and just talk, you know. And when I finally realized there are clients for every personality, and that really the only way you're going to be successful is if people see who you are. And I was never going to be that agent. So like it really made me reflect, because even within StreetText, we have great agents that are so successful with huge teams. Then we have single agents who are successful with mailers and postcards or door knocking. For me, it's just not my style. So my follow-up technique for the majority, and I'll try anything, but I feel very personable with video. I like incorporating a short video, not necessarily for people to watch, but with BombBomb, for instance, it incorporates that 5-second movement. So I feel like people can see me. I love StreetText because Facebook ads was my primary source of generating leads, and they are through Facebook. So for me, when you're on Facebook, you're there to connect. So I naturally align with clients who are looking to connect with me. And when I get a lead that comes in, not only does StreetText have the automations that they've already set and created, but I add to it. I add my own language. I add some videos, I add my emojis, and we'll talk about all of that. But and then to me, I'm connecting with everyone on Facebook. I'm using Facebook as a CRM, just like I'm using StreetText. I have all of my leads organized in a list of local prospects or past clients, and that way I can make sure that I'm having genuine conversation and genuine connection with people, other than just about a deal.
Absolutely. People want to do business with people they know, like, and trust, right?
Right.
So I'm going to ask you this question because I think we've got over 100 people right now watching. And I guarantee you said video, I think 3 times in when you were talking there. And so about 50% of the people went, oh, crap. I don't like video. It doesn't work for me. I don't like the sound of my voice. I don't like how I look. I don't know if you've had any of those things run through your head. You're a human, so my guess is at some point you have. Before you move forward, because you can give the greatest follow-up system in the world, but if people are afraid of it or concerned by it, so tell us a little bit what you did to overcome some of those fears that we all have. I mean, I have them. I'm sure Troy and Ira have them. You know, we're humans. So, what are some of the things that you did to overcome those that really allowed you to be really effective with that video?
I take a deep breath, but I'm laughing. See, Troy and Ira know this about me. I like my crooked mouth. I cannot stand it. My hair, my this. So I just don't watch it. In fact, we were on a mastermind last week, and no lie, my 14-year-old walks in his pajamas, by the way, eating a piece of toast. And I'm like, what the heck? But my thing is, I make a video for a lead, right? The dog sneezes, send. I send it, right? They better get to know the real me right away, because there's no going back. We're on this journey together. So.
And no joke, when Jen was just telling, like, she's like, hey, I sneeze, I send it, I do this, I send it. That is actually almost the exact moment that her son came walking in, and we just, like, everybody lost it. But it's like, don't overthink it. Like, just go with it, because it's you. It's your personality. And one of the things I love to show people when they're afraid of doing video, I do this. I'm like, this is anything without video, and we can talk, and you're not going to see me. You see my photo there. It could even be black, versus this, right? Now there's a person behind it. Now you can see me. Now you can see my, my inflection, my tonality, my personality. It's like, oh, well, there's a human now. Right. And it's just, it's such a different experience. Even if you say a bazillion times, even if you sneeze, even if you stumble over your words, it's okay.
And I think, Jenifer, last week, that was a big takeaway she shared in one of our webinars we did, is she shared that. She said, I see people taking like 51. They said they did 51 takes of their initial BombBomb video that goes out in their first email. Like, that's a lot of time we're spending on trying to get it perfect. And the more polished you look, the more automated you look. And the last thing the world needs right now is automation. Like, if you want to have personal conversations with people, you make sure your communication is bent towards being personable. So like Jenifer, her son walked in the room and she said, I am on a really important webinar right now. And you could see she was trying to catch him before he walked in the frame with his pajamas and everything. We're going to have to talk later. But I mean, if you sent that video to me, I talk all the time about how I read somewhere that the human attention span is less than a goldfish these days. Like, scientifically, we have gotten lower than a goldfish. We're living in the attention economy. Those who can get people's attention and keep it are going to win. And a polished video is not that. Why do you think YouTube's grown like it is? My wife spends so many hours on YouTube watching other people's lives and buying books and recipes and like meeting people, and new Amazon stuff shifted because they're real, because it's tangible. They're not seeing the polished view. And that's what Jenifer does really well. Like, even in some of her replies in her emails, she shares a copy of one of them where she like puts a funny meme in it instead of just the regular old real estate language. That's been key. I love it.
Yeah, and you know, that's the thing, is people are clicking on an ad, either buyers or sellers, and it says that we're going to get back to you. We're going to help you, see what you could list your house for. So to me, if I'm clicking on something on Facebook or anywhere else, and it tells me that they're going to offer me something, I want to know that there's someone on the other side, because to me, I'm more annoyed that when I ask for something and they either want more information or it just goes nowhere. So for me, just to let someone know that I'm on the other side, I'm a person, and it doesn't have to be video, although I really think it helps. I got a listing before I even started with video. Really, it's that personalization. You can send a text, you can make a quick phone call, you could email them where it's not all, fancy, and just tell them, I received your request, I'm working on it. But it's all about the connection with Facebook. Honestly, otherwise, if people are going to look at a billboard, and then that's not your business. But with StreetText, it's Facebook, and Facebook's all about connection. They want to connect with someone.
Right. And so here's some statistics, as Jenifer probably knows already. I kind of grilled her in the 10 minutes before we started this about some numbers. So I'm a numbers guy, and I think numbers are important. So here's a number. For every one real estate transaction, there's 12 leads created. I'm not talking about in Jenifer's CRM, I'm talking about across the country. Think about that. So what do you have to do? You can be like everybody else and just kind of grind through it and do that. And you can have success. I promise you, if you don't want to use any of the tools that Jenifer has today, that doesn't mean you can't be successful. But why not take some shortcuts? And that's what Jenifer is doing. And authentic is what sells. Nobody's interested in your perfect video that costs $7,000 to produce. As a matter of fact, they probably go, oh, that's just a person doing an ad. It's kind of like, why don't we use 1-800 numbers to call people anymore? But, oh, that's someone just trying to sell me something. We got to be real. And that's what Jenifer has done through that. So that's amazing. Troy, Ira, did you guys want to demo anything on the system, or should we let Jenifer go into her follow-up system?
Well, let's frame it out a little bit as far as like what StreetText is doing, and then we can go into what Jenifer has now done with StreetText. So I'll just share my screen here, and basically this is Jenifer's account. Now she's got this dashboard. If I'm wanting to launch some ads, for instance, we're going to spare you from that labyrinth of confusion, as we were talking about earlier. People would jump in and they can select from a number of different templates that we have. And we've vetted all these templates. Usually when somebody comes in, they start a trial with StreetText, which we have, a 7-day trial. They come in and they can use this template. It's one of our top ones, 60% click to contact rate. Right. So to frame that out, those people that are going in and trying to do this on their own, trying to build those landing pages, trying to do that, they're sitting around the 2 to 5% click to contact rate. Right. So we've vetted this and we've made this very easy.
Would you kind of explain what some of those numbers mean? Because I bet you there's people looking at it and going, I see all these numbers. I see 15,000. It just, what do these numbers mean? And how, if I'm going to use your system, what's the ones that are important to me?
Yeah, we're breaking this down basically across all of North America. People have used this particular template in the last month, right? So,
Awesome.
I mean, 15 or 150 for, I don't even know,
1.5
billion.
million,
So
I think.
there we go.
I did the same thing too. There was too
So,
many numbers there.
Too many numbers. We need to put some commas in there. Maybe we have to talk to developers there.
Mhm.
But basically, a click to contact rate means, if in the case here, it's almost 60%, meaning that 6 out of 10 clicks results in somebody leaving some form of contact, starting with an address, right? That's a very high ratio in there. And then we break it down. We break down the average cost to acquire that address across all of North America, sitting around $2, just a little over $2, right? So very low. And then cost to acquire an email is roughly just over $6, right? So, for whatever you're spending on Facebook, you want to maximize it. And we always, at the end of the day, work with everybody, and it's going to be different from market to market. Jenifer's in a very different market than somebody who's in San Diego, right? So somebody in San Diego, it's very competitive. You're dealing with higher end homes, their cost to acquire leads is going to be higher. But we have a number of coaches here at StreetText. Ira is one of them. When people first come in, you get assigned a coach who's going to work with you to make sure that you get a good performing ad in your market, and then is going to start leading you into the follow-up portion of these things.
And I think one of the big advantages is because we're a collaborative community, and oftentimes when people are advertising on Facebook, they don't have a clue what looks good and what's good results. Like, I'll say that to somebody. So have you done Facebook ads before? They're like, yes. And then they explain how they almost pulled their hair out and needed a stiff drink to figure out how to use the ads manager. But by the end of it, I say, like, how much money did you spend? Did you do well? And the answer is usually, I don't know. So because we have this collaborative community running ads all across North America, we now have an average on those stats, and you benefit from the collaboration. When you've landed on something good, and the collaboration just continues.
Yeah, and I think that's really important. Go ahead.
Exactly that. The power of the user base that we have and the information that we can bring and what we can do on a mass scale feeds into everything that helps to make this whole thing a lot more efficient for people. So, basically, you come in here now, you select one of our templates that work really well. Within a couple of clicks, you can launch an ad, right? So people put in this particular one, they're going to put in their address, they're going to set up the imagery, the copy's already been vetted for them. They're going to target where they want to run the ad. Another click, and they're going to deploy it, right? So I'm not going to get into the details of what's an award-winning ad, because we're focused more on Jenifer and her follow-up here. But basically, what we're saying is, within a couple of clicks, you can have a top-performing ad running on Facebook, which is going to generate leads. You can monitor those ads quite easily, see what the performance is, how is it performing. In there, Jen's actually doing really good against the average here. So similar statistics as what you saw in the ad template. We can now see very easily, what is her cost per lead? What is her cost per email? Is this an effective performing ad? Right.
And real quick, make a comparison to this. And I've run Facebook ads, but I'll be honest with you, I ran one 5 or 6 years ago. I haven't run them a lot since. I run StreetText, by the way. But the reality is, I bet you if you paid me $500 and gave me 10 minutes, that I probably couldn't run an ad. And I mean that. So this is an important thing for people to understand who are watching. Like, literally, if you've ever tried to log into Facebook Ad Manager, and I think someone mentioned a stiff drink, that's the minimum. So how many clicks would it take me to run an ad on your system, realistically?
Clicks, you're looking at, not from clicks, let's not talk necessarily clicks, but time.
Time's perfect, yeah.
I could probably
4 or 5 minutes, maybe?
Not even that. Within 2 minutes, you could launch an ad and actually do what we call a split test, which is 3 ads running where you're testing the audience on Facebook. Now, if I was to do that anywhere else, you could be, I remember one story, we had somebody come in and Marcus was doing a demo with her, and she had done ads before, and she was blown away. And her comment was, "Are you kidding me? To do what you just did takes me 2 hours. I go through it, I select the imagery, I put everything in, I launch, and then I only to discover that it got disapproved, and I have to do it all over again."
Right. So the question is, do you want to become a Facebook lead ads expert and spend 2 hours at a time? By the way, it would probably take you 6 to 12 months of consistent study to become an expert. Or do you want to use a system that can do it for you in a minute and a half?
Yeah.
And then within 24 hours, you know which ad is resonating the best with the biggest audience. That's the key, is a lot of people wait weeks on an ad that they've run. We teach you how to, within a 24-hour period, if the ad isn't working, turn it off, split test again until you land on something. And then that's when the magic happens. Once you land on an ad that's working, we're talking months. The ad's going to work for months. Sometimes people have the same ad running for a year. We've had some of our users. And then it's really just what Jenifer's doing. That's where you're going to transform your career. Is like, I've clicked on it. I want to know my home value. Now the magic happens. The conversation has started, and that's where you're going to transform your business. This is how you use this lead as they come in. You're not going to transform your business by getting your cost per click as low as possible and your email costs as low as possible. Some people get stuck in that trap. They get stuck in like I'm going to get the most perfect ad ever at the lowest cost. Well, it's going to cost you a lot of money if you don't follow up with those leads and learn how to create conversations that build relationship and trust and all of that other stuff.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, we talk about quickly launch an ad. It's not just the ad though, it's the full funnel, right? So it's a landing page that comes with it. They click on the ad, they end up on a landing page. The landing page is very similar to the ad, so we're not taking them someplace strange. Next, they come in here and now they fill in a couple of forms to put in their information. We start with the address. It's a step-by-step kind of dynamic process here. So they're gonna first start with an address. If they don't want to leave more than that, they don't have to, but at least you have some information to work with. Somebody who leaves an address they're interested, right? So, okay, we're going to find out why are they interested in their home value. Next, we're going to capture an email and we're going to capture their name and phone number. But when we do that, now we're going to put them on a drip system, right? So that follow-up drip system is already built into StreetText, but you can leave it with something that's very generic, very dry, and what we've written. And we sometimes, are a little harsher even on ourselves. We'll tell you, hey, what we put in StreetText, it's a little dry, it's a little boring, it's a little. Reality is we wrote it in a way that it is because it works. It does work. The only thing that it lacks, and this is like with any tool right out of the box, they just lack your personality and your branding in there. And that's key. And that's what Jenifer's come in here and done. This is her automation in here. And right away, she has a text message that goes out to the individual if they left a phone number, just acknowledging that they put in there. And she's asking a few questions in here. But next up, she hits him up with his email. Now, she could have left it with no signature in there, with just a simple question, but she's taken it all the way to adding a little bit more, adding her personality in here. You can see that she's dropped a video in here. She's using BombBomb, but there's many different video services out there, Warm Welcome, Dub. You can check any of them out and figure out which one works for you. But you can see right away with just this little animation in there, there's a personality, there's a person, there's Jen right there, your home value request, right?
And that's they don't even need to play the video. For me, it's not even about that. The information's already there. For me, they can see me. And I think I look like a nice person. I don't know. so for me,
I work with you.
That is exactly what brought me to StreetText, because there was some guy, Marcus is not here right now, but Marcus with StreetText, he was popping up in my Facebook. Hey, Jen, I saw you were interested. And I'm thinking, who is this guy that keeps talking to me? But then after a while, I was like, oh, he has a family. He looks normal. Like, I think I like, I think I like this person. He seems nice. And that's what led me to them. So in my head, I was thinking, if he could do that to bring me over to at least hear about StreetText, I know when people are interested about selling or buying a property, maybe not ready to jump in, they see someone with a nice friendly smile or someone that's willing to reach out. And to me, that's what it's all about. But I mean, StreetText, I'm just going to brag on you guys for a second. I've been with like a bunch of different companies. Here's the difference. So with StreetText, not only if I have a question, can I talk to Ira or Troy? It's like, hey, I know you. I see when you're active on Facebook. You can't hide, right? But then we have like this group, of people that are in StreetText and our insider private group. And then we have these weekly coaching sessions and the masterminds and all of that to really help people not only be successful, but honestly, why start from scratch? I mean, everyone's here to share. And I had a hard time. It's eye-opening. I had a lot of people in my hometown start to hear about StreetText, and I was a little nervous, like they're going to have my secret sauce. But let me just be honest, okay? Nothing I do is any more special than what other realtors are doing. Other realtors may do it better. They may do it differently. But the truth of the matter is I could share with you every single thing, and I do in my course, but like I could share everything and 10 people can get the information. Only one's going to do it, and they're going to do it different. So there's no secrets,
Yeah. Very abundant. And I love that abundant mentality, because all too often we try and hide our best stuff. But at the end of the day, I've taught classes in front of 100 people and told them everything that I've done. And I walked out of that class and guarantee you that maybe 3 of them implemented some portion of that. So if you're out there, be a sharer like Jenifer. It doesn't hurt you. It only makes you better. You get to go and, and I'll quote my coach, rip off and deploy. Take what Jenifer's doing. If you like it, if it resonates with you, rip it off and do it in your own business, and it'll work. And what you saw there, and I think that that's the most important thing. You saw that video of her smiling and waving, had her phone up there. People are going to make a judgment. I'm going to ask you this question. I have no idea the answer to it, Jenifer, but does anyone ever tell you to F off or go to hell or leave you alone when they do that?
It's my favorite. No, not really, but they have. And then I share it in the StreetText group, because sometimes they'll say something like, I didn't give you permission to blah, blah, blah. And I'll send like a GIF, okay, of one of them was, Seth Rogen or whatever, but I'll send a GIF like, whoa. And it immediately, I'm like, whoa, sorry about that. And then sometimes they'll come back and say, sorry, I was having a bad day. Sorry, I just didn't remember. And I diffuse the situation. So for me, same thing on an ad. When you run a Facebook ad, right, and someone leaves a nasty comment or, whatever they say, one of the comments is, don't fill out the form. They'll call you forever. So one of my gifts that I post is a ghost haunting them. And I'm like, to me, it starts a conversation where it's funny. But yeah, I mean, you're always going to get that.
But here's my point. I think by having that little video of a real person, it's easy to be mean to a text message. It's easy to be mean to someone who's not real, but you're real. And I'm not saying there's always going to be jerks. I'm not trying to do that. But my point is, if you're afraid of video, one of the things that video will do for you is make you more real, and you'll get more positive responses. At a minimum, you'll get less negative responses. So again, I applaud you for using video. That is the thing that I guarantee you, in part, outside of consistency, it's setting you apart. So why don't we go into what your follow-up strategy is, and so that we can kind of show people, and then we can talk a little bit about your course that you've built out so that people can rip off and deploy.
Sure. So I think to talk about the follow-up, really, it starts with your schedule, like you were saying. And anyone who knows me, I'm not a time block girl. It's too rigid for my personality. But I created something similar. So what I do is every day I have a certain number of hours that I have to dedicate towards whatever. So outside of appointments, I have like 3 hours of education a week. Anything real estate related, YouTube, masterminding, coaching, whatever it is. And then I have like 3 hours a day of follow-up. I don't care how I get that in. It has to be 3 hours a day. And let's say I have a crazy day and I don't get to it. I only do 1 hour. Those 2 hours don't disappear. They go over in different places throughout the week. So I'm going to get that time in. So that's important to realize. So if it's my create time, part of what I do is I take StreetText already automation that comes with every ad funnel you want to use, right? And I start to edit the wording, make it feel more like my speech, how I would talk. From there, I did a lot of research, and I found that emojis, if you look at that, there's like an open rate of whatever percent, but it was like 100% more than if you don't include emojis. So I make sure to, sprinkle some emojis in some of my email subjects, right? Or some of my texts, not too much because, I'm not a child, so just a few. And then because I have BombBomb, I'll make really short videos to include in my automation. Now, when it comes to my getting back to leads, older leads, I might pick up my phone just like this, and I might send them an email, where it's backwards, but anyway, where it says, hey, next steps for Dorothy. So when she opens her email, she's like, oh, she's talking to me. And I might send her a quick message and just say, hey, I was thinking about you. It's been a few months. How are you doing? You want me to send you an updated, CMA report? Or I'll make sure to go on Facebook and go through my old leads and I'll reach out. Or if their child is graduating from high school, I make sure to comment. It's not all about just connecting about, hey, are you ready to sell? Are you ready to buy? Are you ready to sell? I want them to know that it's more than just about that I'm interested in their family and their friends and just connecting in general. So to answer your question, my strategy is to make the wording my own. I have gone in and added additional emails beyond the funnel that is provided. I do like video. I don't include it in every email, but I do include it in some. I make sure to call if there's a phone number or to send a text when it's been a few months or a few weeks. And I make sure to post on Facebook and go through my leads and just, make sure to make mention that I'm seeing them. I notice them, that they're more than just a number or a sale.
Okay. Do you use Facebook Messenger if you can't get a hold of somebody?
Absolutely, especially my address only leads. So Jonky, who's also on LabCoatAgents a lot, see, she's the queen of like mailers. For me, it's not my style. I'll mail, just not as often. I don't do the postcards. I like to send out to address only leads. Troy, I don't know if you can pull it up. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I actually just created something where it goes to them and it's half handwritten, where I handwrite the sales in their area. And then I have a QR code where if they scan it, it'll take them back to the ad that they clicked on to finish filling out their information. And I also, yes, I'll look on tax records. I'll see the owner name. And if I can find them on Facebook, I'll simply send them a message and say, hey, I saw that you tried to, or you requested, a home CMA report or a worth report on 123 ABC Street. Where's a good email address I could send it back to? Now, you see how basic this is, Brian? I am not a postcard girl, but to me, if someone wrote something on it, I like it. Now, this one, Troy, doesn't have the QR code. I've added that since. That's part of my tweet. Oh, it does. There you go. But, and so if they use it, to me, I think not only is it less expensive, I'm only paying for the stamp and the envelope, but they can see my handwriting. They know that it was something I had to look at because I open my mail over the trash. I do.
Me too. I understand. So there was a question, and I'm going to kind of piggyback and use that. So how often are you getting incorrect or not full information? So if you get 100 leads, and I know you're not a numbered person necessarily, but just ballpark it for me. Like how often are you getting a full lead, which would be name, phone number, email address?
I think it depends on the ad. There's some ads that I run where I would say it's 50%. I would say if you want to look overall, I would say between 30 and 40%. But here's the thing. If they're not leaving a full ad, most of them do leave an email. And if they're just leaving an address, I have really good luck, getting in touch with them on Facebook.
Okay. Yeah, and address only leads, honestly, are sometimes the best. Here's the psychology I've been told, and I don't know if this is accurate, but this is my mindset around it. And if it's not somebody else's, just adapt my mindset. It's a good one, I promise. Address only leads are afraid to give you information because they're the ones who really want to sell. Because they're the ones who are really thinking, and because they don't want to be bombarded by 17 real estate agents. So if you get an address only lead, have Jenifer's attitude is, I'm just going to reach out to my messenger. I'm going to maybe send them a postcard. I'm going to not postcard. That was a really cool. I love the simplicity of that. Or, we can also do some append data. And I don't know if you do any of that, but that's another way that you can actually get people's phone number and reach out to them. I'm not sure if that's anything that you're doing.
No, it's not actually. And There was something else I was going to say, and I think I just forgot what I was going to say. So I'll come back to it when I remember.
Jenifer, let me kind of one thing that Jenifer has shared that I think has really been instrumental with a lot of other people is the fact that she said, I don't even care if they open that first automated email. Sometimes people get stuck on that open rate. And she said, no, let me preface that. I care that it gets delivered and they open it. But what did they ask for? They asked for their CMA. So where Jenifer's spending the majority of her time is in this mindset where she's not saying, like, I'm hassling these people, like I'm banging their door down. She doesn't think that way. She thinks I am being persistent about delivering what you asked for. So one thing that Jenifer does is she delivers that CMA in a very well thought out, quick, like bomb video. But she shared how she sends that until they open it. She watches the open rate, 100% open rate on the CMA. And a lot of people would say, I can't do that. Like, I've had people say to me, Ira, like, I wanted to reach out to this person again, but I'm bothering them. Am I bothering them if I reach out to them? And I said, that's the problem. When you feel like you're bothering people, you are, because your motivation and your mindset is self-driven. Where Jenifer's motivation is, you clicked on this damn thing. I've done the work on it. I'm going to deliver this to you to make sure you see it, because we're living in a day and age where everyone's so busy that they just miss things sometimes. So Jenifer, can you share, like,
Yeah.
I think that's a huge takeaway for people.
Yeah. So for me, the way I look at it, and that's no lie, 100% open rate unless it's a bad email. In BombBomb, I track it. I track the emails. But here's the thing. I don't think I'm as important, to be remembered. So if something is sent and I wake up the next day and it's been about 24 hours and it's not open, it's either on the next page of your email or it's never being opened. In fact, there's never been a day that's gone by that I've gone back to emails that I haven't opened. If I didn't open it, it's for a reason. So, but I don't think it's because, oh, it's Jenifer Salter emailing me. They don't know me. They don't care. So what I do is I'll send it out again. If it's still not open, now I change the subject line. I send exactly the same thing, but instead of it saying 123 ABC Street, your requested valuation, I'll say your requested valuation for 123 ABC Street. After that, I might put up attempt number 27, open it, but they do, they all open it. They all open it.
That's amazing. So you got 100% open rate. By the way, I've literally never heard that before. So congratulations. It's clearly something that's working. I mean, I get excited when I get to 15% open rate on emails sometimes. So let me ask you this. On the average, if you're in, again, I know that I'm asking you numbers, but the reason I'm doing this is I want people to understand that Jenifer has a system that she goes over and over, but how really hard is it? Like, how many attempts does it normally take to get to that 100% open rate? I know sometimes it's one, but realistically 5, 6, 7, where are you looking at there?
No, I think second or third. Yeah, most of them really do open it because I think they remember, because it says you're requested. And I do include an emoji, and that's probably a scientific thing, but if they don't open it, I will get it. So like I said, unless it's a bounced email, they all open it.
That's amazing. That's again, that's persistence though, because most people go, I sent them an email, they didn't open it, they don't want to read my email. So statistically speaking, it takes 8 contacts to get a hold of an internet lead. So one of the things you're doing well is having good email open rates by having good email headers, and maybe you can share a couple of those, because clearly you're doing a good job convincing people to open your email. And again, national average is less than 20% for email open rates.
And Brian, I think it's important, and I say this all the time, like in the mastermind groups, but I really believe this, and I tell this to every listing appointment I have. You have a few choices. It's time, convenience, or money, okay? So if you want to get the most money, it might be a little less convenient, right? You might have more showings. It may be longer on the market. Same thing applies to this. So for me, I really, my course too, I appeal more to that solo agent, because I'm right there at the cusp where I'm gonna have to hire someone or expand my team. However, there are successful agents that cannot follow up or that don't follow up like I do, and they're still successful because they're able to spend more money, or they're able to send it out and just not follow up as much. For me, because I want to save the money, it's less convenient, but I do at 8 o'clock at night, I might be following up with a lead and send them a quick text message or something like that. Now, to answer your question, I have read the science of it, and there's always new things coming up. But one thing was the emojis, right? You put an emoji in a Facebook post or an email or a text message, not too many, the open rate increases, and it was more than double. So we'll have to look and see, but I quoted it in my course. I don't remember. Another thing you can do, and this seems silly, is to include a number. So people are like, well, how do you include a number? And so one of my emails is the 3 reasons you should choose me as an agent, right? Or you could do the 57 ways to get your house ready to show a buyer. The number doesn't matter, but numbers and emojis, they seem to increase and enhance. Just like people sending mailers, they say, put it in a colored envelope. I don't know why. I don't have the time to care. I just do the little things that they say help. And that's it. And as new things come through me, or we have these weekly coaching or masterminds and I pick up a new nugget, let me tell you a great nugget that I picked up from someone in StreetText. And I love this because we are personal. We want people to see us as not just an automated thing. I really like the idea of saying that you are a locally small business owner, a local small business owner. To me, that immediately catches someone's attention. And I think even more so now, people like that and they want to support local business. So I make sure to include that. Thank you so much for reaching out to local business. I'm a small business owner with, eXp Realty or whatever it is. Those little things that you can add make you stand out, make you different, and make it where it's not automated. Because if you're automated, you remember those Facebook message bots that a lot of people do? I can't stand them. I know it's not you typing. I know you can't type 1 million words in 30 seconds. I know it.
Yeah, that would be definitely challenging. If anyone has seen me type, I'm going back and forth, back and forth. So.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
I'm
going to have something. Okay.
Yeah. So we've been talking a lot about her, Jenifer's follow-up, and I'm going to break it down a little bit here, just because I know that there's people that like 1, 2, 3, ABC. I'm one of those people. But Jenifer's actually put this all together in a course that we've worked with her to build. And it really shows her follow-up, her mindset around things, kind of what she does in that. And you'll see it here. Tessa's just shared it in the chat there. But you can see here, she's talking about her time block schedule, her social portion of the day where she's sending Facebook messages and kind of what those look like, her create portion where she's creating new videos and templates for her emails. Her follow-up, you can see here, there's email number 1, the very first one that goes out, and the email number 2, 3, 4. So you can see what that actually looks like. And then even beyond, as she was kind of mentioning there. So a lot of this is all laid out in this course, and we're offering this course 50% off today. The code is in there. You can use that. And it's, and I did see a question in the chat, I believe somewhere, but somebody was asking, what you do, can that be applied? Can I build this off of my own Facebook ads? Do I have to have StreetText? Absolutely. You can do what Jenifer's doing. You don't have to use StreetText to do it, right? And that might sound counterintuitive to, I'm the StreetText guy, but we offer a platform that helps create those ads, makes it easy, has all that stuff that's in there. And if you want to check that out and see what that is, we have a 7-day trial, right? It's only going to cost you your Facebook ad spend. Right, so why not check it out, and then if you go now with the mindset of Jenifer, where you're really serving people, you're providing them with information with your follow-up, it's going to be really, really powerful. So Jen, an email comes in and they get an automated email from you. We just saw that where it's got your personality in there. Hey, I've received your request. They get to meet you. You're saying it doesn't really matter to you if they open that or not, at least they got something. Then you follow up with that home evaluation. Right, so that's number 2. You're serving them with that request, and then you go out of your way to make sure that they actually get it, they open it, they've actually received it because it is what they've requested. And then from there, your drip campaign has a couple more follow-up emails, providing info, providing value, right? And then you pepper it in there with Facebook messages and other additional happy birthdays, or like you kind of mentioned there, maybe it's an update on their home value 3-6 months from now, because hey, the world keeps changing the way it does and values keep changing. So it's constantly serving them, constantly providing value, constantly reaching out with that. That's really what's going to lead to that perfect follow-up, right? Peppered in with a little bit of video, because they can see Jenifer, they see your branding. Now, one thing I want to point out is, Jen, did you arrive at this on day one?
No, it's called baby steps. Yeah, baby steps. You can overwhelm yourself and go crazy, but that's the good thing. StreetText works anyway. It does. It works. So every day you put your mind to personalizing one more thing. And then, at the end of the year or 2 years, now you really have a personalized system that feels like you, and it's just getting better and better. So, in fact, it works so well, you can ask Troy, as he was showing people live, that for the last 19 months, my funnels, the timing has been all off. And I thought I was sending something in like, a 3-month period, and it was going on for probably 25 years. It was like so far apart, and it was still working, and I was still closing, 19 deals in 19 months. So it works anyway. It just gets better. With all the things that you do. And, people get overwhelmed, but honestly, it's like I could get myself really in a tizzy every day with the things that I haven't done, could do better. And one little small tip, every day in your Facebook with your friends, right? You make a birthday, you say happy birthday to whoever's birthday it is. You make sure to attach your business page, which will generate a banner for everyone to see. Make sure you add some emojis and you give them a personal birthday message. And while you're doing that, you put them into a friend list. So when you're looking at them, how do you know this person? Did you used to work with them? Are they a local person? Are they a lender? Are they an inspector? And you make sure to do that. So by the end of the year, the goal is everybody in your Facebook is going to be organized in a friend list. So now you can have targeted posts that go to other people. If I'm speaking about realtor stuff, I don't want to bore everybody with that. So I make sure I only post it to realtors, and so use Facebook, use StreetText as a CRM. We could get all these fancy bells and whistles, but honestly, you don't need it. So StreetText has done a great job, and I really use it as, not only a way to get in contact with my leads, but it is my CRM that I rely on, most days.
Cool. Couple of quick questions for you. Home valuations. You said step 2 was doing a home valuation. How much time do you spend on that? Because I can hear people going, "Oh, I got to spend hours every day doing home vals." What does that look like? A whole 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
So I have a general template I follow. The lead comes in. I generate a picture using Google Street View, right, of the house, the property, the whatever. I put that in the email. I have a video that I make that's already been made. If I have the time and I'm dressed and look presentable, I'll make a really quick video, a screen share of their house, and say, this is, what I'm looking at. This is the recent sales. Underneath, I compare it to what online people are saying, Zillow, and Redfin, and like Trulia or whatever. And then I tell them what I think based on comps in the area. So what I do is I look in that subdivision, recent sales in the last year, and I base it on square footage and general, sameness. The good thing is, see, you're asking for the appointment. I don't like doing a huge range. I know sometimes people and realtors, they think it's fine to do a 30,000 range. To me, that annoys me. I'm like, you didn't help me at all. You did nothing. So for me, it doesn't intimidate me or scare me at all to give someone a $10,000 range. And what I put, my caveat is, this is if, your house is in generally updated, good condition, because we run numbers. This is numbers, right? So I can look at a neighborhood and say, well, I mean, they're really selling about 137, 142 a square foot. So that's the range, and if they imported some granite from like, Germany, then maybe it'll enhance the value. That's a great way to say, I need to come see your house. Let's talk, let's go see it, show it off. But other than that, it's simple and it's quick. and that's it. I've given them what they've asked for, and on to the next.
Perfect. And the other question was, forgive my dumb question, but are you doing all of this in StreetText is what the person said. So I think you've kind of answered that, but you just streamline that real quick so they can understand. I appreciate that.
Sure. Yes. All of this comes in through StreetText. The only thing I'm not doing with StreetText and their automations is I'm sending out my CMA report through BombBomb. The template was derived by StreetText, but I send it out through there just so I can incorporate video, but it's not necessary. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. All right. Well, we've got about 5 minutes left. I want to make sure, I'd love to hear any of the final thoughts that you'd like to share about your follow-up system and your follow-up course. And then there's a quick question that either Troy or Ira can answer. Aside from the 7-day trial, what's the cost of StreetText?
I'll jump in and do costing. Really, trial is set up for you to get really good ads on Facebook so that you can see what ads cost, because ads is something that you pay for with StreetText. When it comes to our costs to use the platform, we have a 1 year and a 6 month and a 3 month commitment. You basically pay the commitment up front and then it renews month to month after that. So the 1 year is $19.20 for the entire year, renews month to month after that, $160 a month. The 6 month is $1,020, renews month to month after that at $170 a month. And the 3 month is $600, renews after that at the $200 a month. I think what Jenifer's talking about is like key. Long-term mindset is what wins. I had somebody in the month of December that did a trial. I had 3 people who got listings in their trial period. Wow. And I said that sometimes to your detriment, because you don't learn from people like Jenifer, who has learned the persistent and consistent follow-up process that brings these leads to the top of the water over time. That's like career-changing stuff. Like one deal doesn't change your career, but a process like Jenifer's laid out changes your career. And the key that Jenifer's done is she saves people the time. She's picked little pieces of everything that's worked, and she's put it together in an organized thought pattern that's like her process. So what she's done is like pave the road for people that want to save the time and shortcut to a consistent follow-up process. So there's people in our community that come in that are brand new agents like Jenifer at the beginning of the journey, where they're looking to like get their foot ahead. And that's what we love, is we see those agents excelling and watching them like make a career instead of a hobby. Watching her do that and watching people do that is what's exciting. But you can shortcut that if you're a little bit further along by like watching someone like Jenifer and paying and investing in her process, which is spot on. Like I love what Jenifer's done there and how she's personalized it. And that's the key. So Jenifer, I think I want you to kind of fill in the gaps there in terms of like, what was it in your follow-up? What is it that you've done that you think has been the most successful? Like, what would you say to somebody, even if they're new as an agent?
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, I appreciate that. And second of all, I just want to add that the course is constantly updated. It's not like an encyclopedia where you get the course and that's it. As I learn new things, as new things come, the course is constantly updated. Ira, I think the most important thing, and I think it takes a while for all agents, honestly, is to be comfortable in your own skin. If you like the mailers, there's nothing wrong with that. Make it yours. If you feel like maybe I'll try door knocking, try it, but try it all. I mean, you have to try it all, but you don't have to feel like you have to do something that totally makes you feel like you don't like it. It should be fun. And, for me, I like the conversation. So to me, a little video, a little personalized, a little joke, it's just my style. So that's the most important thing is be comfortable in your own skin and then grow with it, learn new things and be a little uncomfortable, but you don't have to totally jump and feel, like it's not you.
Amazing. All right, Troy, any final thoughts? And then we'll kind of close this thing out.
It really comes down to one thing that we said earlier is being consistent. So be consistent with your follow-up, develop a follow-up system. If you can follow, like Jen or anybody else that's doing really well with it, success leaves clues. Follow, just copy what's out there, and then adjust, learn, right? You don't have to like set it in stone and then that's it. It never changes. You go, hey, maybe if I add this little bit of a different word in there, maybe I can get my email open rate a little bit higher, or maybe, all these little things. I mean, StreetText, we have a great insider group, and we've also got a weekly mastermind every Wednesday. And we all gather, and people, all our clients and even some people that are in trial come and they share their ideas. And that's where Jen, I've seen it so many times where Jen's like, she hears something and the very next day she's already implemented and changed something in one of her emails, or is doing something a little bit different, or, she's now starting to adapt some more of the address only kind of stuff that other people are doing, but she's doing her own style of it, right? So it just grows and grows and grows. But the thing is that she's consistent in doing that. And that is what's super key.
Awesome. All right. So a couple of thoughts that I wanted to share real quick. So Jenifer and I, before this, we calculated her return on investment. Her return on investment, or ROI, is 17. What does that mean? That means for every single dollar she spends, she makes $17. And for all of the people who are out there scared to death of spending any money on real estate, Jenifer's spending approximately $500 a month to get at least one closing a month. Approximately, it varies slightly because the math just doesn't work that simplistic, but about $500 a month. So, what does that mean? Well, for her, that means for every $500 she's spending right now, she's getting a check for $8,700. So if that sounds interesting to you, take a look at it. And then here's my final thought as far as being afraid to purchase stuff. And I fell into this for years and years and years. $149. If you're worth $100 an hour, that's an hour and a half of your time. How long would it take you to develop what Jenifer will basically give you for an hour and a half of your time, assuming you make $100 an hour? So all I'm suggesting to you as a real estate coach is rip off and duplicate other people's stuff. And that's what Jenifer has done. She's done all this work. Her $149, which is normally $300, is a absolute bargain. If you don't get $149 of value out there, I'll give you $149. That's how important it is to take a look at what somebody else is doing instead of reinventing wheels. I was the king of inventing wheels, and now I've got a bunch of wheels that someone else created before me, and it's so much easier. Be smarter than me and follow Jenifer. And so I'll give you the final word, Jenifer, and then we'll button up.
I appreciate that. This has been a lot of fun. I just saw a question come in. Yes, the training is self-paced, and it would be my guess that if you were just to go through it and watch, it would take you about, maybe 2 or 3 days, but then you're going to have to go through and change all your videos, your templates. So that'll take you longer, and it's something that will continue to expand, on a weekly basis or monthly basis as I add to it. But yeah, my last thought really is what my favorite principal used to say, and I say it all the time. My husband rolls his eyes every time he hears me say it, but he used to always say, when you're green, you grow, and when you're ripe, you rot. So that's the important lesson, is you have to be green and willing to learn, because as soon as you stop, the world doesn't stop. We're constantly evolving. We have to, continue to change with it. So it's important.
Thanks, everybody. Congratulations. Thanks, Jenifer. Thanks, Troy. Thanks, Ira. Great doing this today. Appreciate you all. And log in next week to see what we got next.
All right. Thank you.